Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami.
Dumba Jumden de Jawa da Jumba Yandamba Zoge Sanje Rigwa da Shamsu Demba Devara Jeba Jigden Jemba Jebu Dube Kalu Jurwa Lana Meba Lada Menam Je Tumba Sanje Jumden de Bejawa Jaja Tuba La Janze Lo Chudu Jamsu Che Wo Tumba Jumden de Dijin Shewa Dajumba Yandamba Zobe Sanje Rigba Da Shamsu Temba Devara Sheba Jigden Chemba Jibun Dube Kalu Jurwa Lana Meba Lada Menam Je Tumba Sanje Shumden De Pejawa Shaja Tuvala Chanze Lo Judo Jamsu Je Wo Dumba Chumden De Dishin Sheba Chajumba Yandaba Zobe Sanje Rigba Dan Shabsu Demba Dewara Sheba Jigden Jemba Jibu Dube Kalu Jurba Lana Meba Lada Menanje Dumba Sanje Chumden De Pejawa Shaja Tuba La Shazelo Chudu Jazu Je Ho Sanje Chudan Zoje Chonama La Chanju Badu Tane Jazu Che Tage Juje Jebe Zonama Je Dola Penje Sanje Drubara Sho Sanje Chudan Zoje Chonama La Janju Bado Dane Javso Che Dagi Chushe Jibe Sonama Je Dola Benje Sanje Dobara Sho Sanje Chudan Soje Shonama La Janju Bado Dane Javso Che Dagi Chushe Jibe Sonama Je Dola Benje Sanje Dobara Sho Good morning, and how have you been? Have you been counting your blessings? So today I thought to begin our session with a short exercise, which is, I think, easy to do, but it may benefit us or some of you. So let's close our eyes and then bring to our mind a person whom you are grateful to. Think of a person whom you consider very kind to you. So once you have the image of that person, now try to recollect all the kind deeds that person has done for you, all the help that person has rendered to you, and all the sacrifices that person has done for you. So let's go through, or let's try to remember as many such deeds as possible. So you may have a lot more to bring to your mind. But for the time being, we will just kind of stop here. And now imagine that if you hadn't received those kindness, those health, what would you have become? Imagine where would you be now if that person has not rendered such kindness. So from this short reflection, we realize that how much that person has played a role in our life, in your life. How much that person has contributed to our well-being, our success, and where we are now. So now, while remembering, while having that image, let's send our love and compassion to that person. So let's wish and say, may whoever that person, may you be free from suffering. May you be free from all the obstacles. May you be happy. May you have good health. May you have peace. Now you can open your eyes. So that's kind of a snapshot into how we can do meditation on gratitude, contemplating on the kindness of a person. So today we have chosen one particular person, but you can extend that. You can bring to your mind any person, even a stranger. You can find reasons to be grateful to that person. So that's how we practice compassion and loving kindness to all sentient beings. At the moment, our kindness and love is only spotlighted on a very few people, because we haven't really examined the kindness, the scope of health others have rendered to us. So if we really think deeper, we will find many reasons to be grateful to anybody, and more so to our enemies. Remember, from the Dharma point of view, enemy is the only person who provides us the opportunity to practice patience, to facilitate exhaustion of our negative karmas. When another person hurls insult, and when we feel the hurt, there is pain and anguish. So these are results of our past karma. And by experiencing that, we are exhausting that particular karma that we have created in the past. So in that sense, that person whom we view as a nasty person, in a way, helped us to exhaust our negative karma. So we will find many reasons. If we can find reasons to be grateful to our enemies, then what to say about other people? Definitely we will find reasons to be grateful. So this way, if we are able to extend our gratitude to more and more people, we will be able to change the way we interact with everybody. We will be more kind, more compassion, more understanding to other people. And through that, we will be able to develop compassion to all sentient beings, and thereby able to develop bodhicitta. And with bodhicitta, of course, we will be able to amass enormous amount of merit. With the accumulation of adequate or enormous merit, we will be able to progress in our Dharma practice. We will be able to gain realizations, provided we put effort. Sometimes, despite our effort, we don't see any gains, we don't see any realizations. It is because that we lack the support of merit. So with bodhicitta, even a tiniest act of Dharma, even a small act of virtue, can become an enormous merit. So that's why, remember, we say that bodhicitta is like the alkalic that can transform ordinary iron or metal into a gold. So I hope you will try to do such reflection on the daily basis. So what I have just done is more of an introduction, more of a snapshot into how to do the meditation or reflection on the gratitude. So now let's dive into the actual text. So until now, we have covered, among the 6 perfections, we have already covered the perfection of generosity, ethical discipline, patience. So now we are on the chapter of perseverance. Although we have covered the first three and then the wisdom during our Lamrim topics, but I think I did not cover the chapter of perseverance and the chapter of concentration. So during this I will try to cover that as well. So bear with me, it will be a bit long. So here the verse, the stanza 28. The Tibetan one, it looks like I didn't bring the text. Let's see whether I can remember. Rangduen bashi Drupa nyarang yang gola meshur dota zun tongna manam tuendo yunden jungne ji zundu zomba kese laglen yins. So now it's about the perseverance or the joyous effort. Seeing even hearers and solitary realizers who accomplish only their own good strive as if to put out a fire on their head, for the sake of all beings, make enthusiastic effort, the source of all good qualities. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So here is the comparison is made to the hearers and solitary realizers. So hearers and solitary realizers, they are only their goal is only to achieve emancipation for themselves. The purpose is only for themselves, and even the goal is just to achieve liberation. Even then, despite their low, goal and purpose for oneself, they still strive so hard. They still put so much effort. The analogy is put out a fire on their head. Let's say if our hair or head catches fire, even our clothes, when it catches fire, we wouldn't sit, we wouldn't be relaxing. Instantly, as quickly as possible, we will try to extinguish that. We will try to put the fire out. So that's the way these the hearers and solitary realizers strive toward achieving their goal. If that is the case, then it says that for Mahayana practitioners who pursue the goal of enlightenment, not only for ourselves, for the purpose to provide lasting happiness, to liberate all sentient beings from the ocean of samsara, then it says that definitely we should be putting such effort. We should be persevering any difficulties. So that's the practice of Bodhisattvas, to really persevere, to really put effort, to really strive, no matter what the challenges are. So that's the practice of Bodhisattva. And here it says the source of all good qualities. All the good qualities will follow perseverance. Without perseverance, nothing will accomplish. So this is not only in regard to spiritual practices or spiritual qualities. Even in conventional sense, even in worldly endeavors, we need perseverance. If we are lazy and if we are prone to giving up quickly, then we will never be successful. We will never be able to achieve our goals. If you look at the successful people, one common feature is that they all strive. They all put effort. So if our worldly attainments or worldly endeavors requires perseverance to achieve the goals, then what? Then no need to mention that the spiritual realizations are completely dependent on the degree of perseverance we generate, we develop. So let's discuss a little bit more on the topic of perseverance. So what is perseverance? So here when we talk about perseverance, it is not just any effort. It is an effort and delight in virtue. So it has to be a virtue. And then it's not just the effort, not just the hard work, but the delight, but the joy. So that's why it's enthusiasm for engaging in virtue. Remember the story that I related to you? There was this retreater in Dharamsala. He has been doing retreat for many years. And he felt that despite many years of meditation, he is going nowhere. He felt that there was no gain or no realizations. So in a way, he felt that, it appeared to him as waste of time. So he went to see His Holiness, to seek His Holiness' advice. And His Holiness' advice consists of two things. First, His Holiness said that when you go back, just wander in that little kind of a street. Those who have been to Dharamsala, especially in McLeodganj, is a very narrow road, but both sides of the road, there are all those small stalls selling all kinds of things. In a way, it's kind of a what you call the hustle and bustle that you can see in a busy cities. So His Holiness advised him to just walk along and see what people are doing. And then the second advice is to, when you get home, read the chapter on the perseverance. So he followed the advice. He walked in the streets and he immediately got the idea that yes, when he looked around, people are so engaged and engrossed in these worldly things, selling, buying, all arising from attachment and all that. So compared to what he has been doing for the last several years, he felt that what he has been doing was a worthwhile endeavor. To him, those people are really wasting their precious human life, so ignorant about the importance of pursuing Dharma. So he got that point. Okay, so after all, it was not wasted several years. But he was so kind of intrigued that why would His Holiness ask me to read the Perseverance chapter when I have been putting so much effort? I wasn't lazy at all. I was very diligent in my practice. So anyway, he read the chapter and then he realized that it is all about having joy in doing the practices. If you just do it for the sake of doing, then there's no fun, there's no joy. And then it becomes kind of a chore. So that's the point. Here when we talk about perseverance, it is about having this joy in engaging in virtue, the delight in pursuing virtue, delight in doing virtuous act. So the benefits, this is a good summary in the ornament for the Mahayana Sutra. It says, with joyous perseverance, you attain the pleasures desired in life. Even in this life, the wealth, fame, name, whatever you want, success, all these, as mentioned before, are contingent on our perseverance. A person who is too lazy will be failure in everything. Go to work, lazy, oversleeps, late for job, fired. Join another job, another workplace, same thing happens. Plans for something, does for 2-3 days, and then give up. So how can you expect success when you don't have the stamina, when you don't have the striving spirit? So it says, even in this life, the worldly things, whatever pleasures you seek, that also requires perseverance. And then with perseverance, one becomes possessed of utter purity. To observe a pure ethical discipline is also reliant on perseverance, because it requires effort, it requires discipline. Discipline requires effort. So if we have that kind of perseverance, then we will be able to observe a pure ethical discipline. Remember, perseverance in this sense is also finding joy. So when it comes to observing ethical disciplines, let's say if you have taken the 5 lay vows, you see joy in observing that. So you abide by the precepts, you abide by all that vow. So that's why you will be able to maintain a pure ethics. And then are liberated, transcending the view of the perishing aggregates. So the view of perishing aggregate is about self-grasping. So with effort, with perseverance, we will be able to achieve liberation. Because with perseverance, we will be able to develop and cultivate the insight into the selflessness of the person, and thereby that extirpating the root cause of samsara. And that's when we become Arhat, that's when we obtain liberation. And then enrich Buddhahood, the supreme enlightenment. And with perseverance, even the supreme enlightenment, which is not easy to achieve, can be achieved through perseverance. So it is very, very important to have perseverance. We know that from our experience. We all wanted to practice. We all wanted to do meditation. We all wanted to study. But there's one thing that is pulling us all down, is this lack of perseverance. The laziness, all forms of laziness, which is the what do you call the contrary, or was the counter to perseverance. So what kinds of perseverance are there? So there are three types of perseverance. So armor-like perseverance, perseverance of gathering virtue, perseverance of acting for the welfare of living beings. So we are talking about that virtuous perseverance. So what are these? So armor-like perseverance. Armor-like perseverance is this, what you call the spirit, very courageous spirit. So it's like armor. When you have that armor, so you are, you have more confidence. If you are to participate in a battle, and if you have the armor, there is this sense of security, there is this confidence that I will be okay. So in Dharma practice, we need that kind of enthusiasm, that kind of courage, that kind of spirit. So what kind of spirit? As mentioned in Lama Choba, even if I must remain for an ocean of eons in the fairy hail of Avicii, for the sake of even just one sentient beings, I seek your blessings to complete the perfection of joyous effort, that out of compassion untiringly strives for supreme enlightenment. So we need to have, when we enter the Bodhisattva paths, at the beginning of Bodhisattva's practices, we need to cultivate that kind of spirit that I will remain in hell realms if the condition demands. If there is only one being to liberate, and it requires me to remain in the hell realm for countless eons, I will still do so. I will still endure that hardship for the sake of liberating that one sentient being. So if we are able to develop that kind of spirit, then along the path, what challenges may come, what challenges we may encounter, we will be able to face that, and we will be able to overcome any obstacles, because you have this spirit that no matter how difficult and challenging it may become, I am willing to put up with it. I'm willing to persevere. So that's what is called the armor-like perseverance. And then with that kind of armor-like perseverance, and then we engage in the practices to accomplish the main goal, which is to achieve enlightenment. So in the course of that, we need to engage in all kinds of practices, from the six perfections to any kinds of practices. So that kind of perseverance is called the perseverance of gathering virtue, when we persevere in engaging in all kinds of Dharma practices. That type of perseverance is called the perseverance of gathering virtue. And then the Bodhisattva's goal is not for oneself. Bodhisattva's main goal, or the primary goal, is to help others. So in order to do that, even when we are pursuing enlightenment, even when we are in the path, we should always try our best to help others, help sentient beings. So when we do that, that kind of perseverance is called perseverance of acting for the welfare of living beings. So here is applying yourself to the practice of the 11 activities for others' welfare, just to give an example or to jolt your memory. Remember, we discussed this before when we comes to the Bodhisattva vows. So like not going to help when it is, so giving the help when others need it, and then caring for the sick. So all this kind of help. So when we provide such helps, there are challenges, there are difficulties. We have to sacrifice. We have to make sacrifices. So when we persevere these challenges and we engage in such activities with joy and enthusiasm, that is called the perseverance of acting for the welfare of living beings. So now, how do we cultivate? How do we develop the joyous perseverance? So in Lamrim Chemo, Lama Tsongkhapa explains this with 4 subheadings. So number 1 is eliminating unfavorable conditions that prevent joyous perseverance. So first we need to identify what are the obstacles, what are the barriers that prevent us from engaging in that joyous perseverance. And then what are the favorable conditions? What are the things that can boost our perseverance? And then based on this, upon identifying the obstacles and the favorable conditions, then how do we apply? And then the main purpose of joyous perseverance is to make our mind and body serviceable. At the moment, our mind thinks one thing and our body wants something else. We want to engage in practice, but our body says, no, I'm too tired. I want to sleep. And then somewhere here you say, oh, you must practice, you must do this. But then on the other side of life, no. I have plenty of time. I will do it later. So the whole point is to make our mind and body serviceable, to enable as and when and for how long, is to enable our mind and body to really do what we want to do. So that's the number 4. So let's try to go through each of these sub-headings. So the first, obstacles. is very obvious to us. The obstacle is laziness. Every time we wanted to do something, especially when it comes to Dharma practices, laziness is always there, the first thing in the pretense of something important. Laziness appears in various forms. So here we have this laziness in three forms. The laziness of procrastination. We all know that, no need to elaborate on this. Always wanting to leave for another day. Oh, I need to do this practice, but I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month. I'll do it next year. And then it's a very common reason is that, common excuse is that I will do when I retire. I will do when I complete this project. We always try to push it back. That's the laziness of procrastination. Then the laziness of attachment to ordinary activity. We have no time for Dharma practice, but we have time for everything else. There's a big event, celebration. Oh, I must go. Oh, the state fair is happening. Oh, I have to go. We can spend hours and hours. And yesterday, the Tefem has this celebration. It's the Tibetan Democracy Day plus the end of summer or something. So I think it started from, 9-10, and it went on to, I think, until 8. So some people have been there the whole day. We can do that, no problem. But when it comes to Dharma practice, 5 minutes into that, we are already trying to get up and do something else. Already eyeing for another excuse. So that's laziness of attachment to ordinary activities. We are so attached to these other things, unimportant things. Chawan Yenshin is like a low activity, low in the sense that it has no value. And then one common thing is that we are so attached to what is called the sensory pleasure. We spend so much time chasing after these. So these are all obstacles because we spend so much time on these other useless things, unworthy things. We have no time for Dharma practice. I always say that there is no such thing as I have no time. It is all about prioritizing. If attending a Dharma class is your priority, you will have time. You will make time. If watching a soccer match, a final match between, France and something else, if that is your priority, of course, you have no time to attend Dharma class because I have to watch that match. Super Bowl is another example. In America, when there is Super Bowl, everything stops. Oh, I cannot go there. I cannot attend that teaching because it's Super Bowl. So that's what it means, laziness of attachment to ordinary activity. Then there's laziness of self-denigration. This is very serious. I think in the West, people have this problem, this issue, this kind of something to do with low self-esteem. Yes, I can see that Dharma practice is important. I can see developing bodhicitta is important. I can see the importance of generating and working towards cultivating renunciation. But I cannot. I don't have the capability. These are for, those smart people, those who practice so much, so long. This is not for me. I cannot do that. I don't have the means. I'm not qualified. I'm not capable of it. So this is the laziness of self-denigrating. You discourage yourself. You put kind of yourself down. This is very dangerous. So now how do we counter this laziness? So first, how do we stop the laziness of procrastination? What kind of antidote we can apply to prevent the arising of laziness or procrastination? So the most effective antidote is contemplating on the impermanence, and especially death. The body you have at present is rapidly disintegrating. Remember, the laziness or procrastination arises because of the assumption that we have time in the future. I don't have time now, I will practice tomorrow. I will practice next year. Assumption is that you will have time next year. You will have time after retirement. You will have time after you finish that particular project. But there is no guarantee, there is no certainty that you will even see the completion of your project. You will even see your retirement. You won't be able to see the first, what you call withdrawal from your social security deposits. We know that. Death, first of all, death is certain. It will come. Nobody will live forever. Everybody has to die. If there were a fixed time, at least we can prepare. Oh, my death is on that year, on that day, that year. Oh, so I have now 3 more years, so I better do my Dharma practice and prepare for that. But we don't know. There's no fixed time. It can come any moment. Death will knock at our door any time. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week. So if we leave our Dharma practice to a future time, what will happen? After death, you will fall into miserable realms. Because you had no time to practice Dharma, which is the main cause to assure a certain good rebirth, which you did not do. because you have other important things which is now useless when it comes to the future life. So the only way, only destination is lower ends. So we need to think this way. First of all, I cannot, what is that? I cannot push back. I cannot delay my Dharma practices because I may die any day, any time. So there's no guarantee that I will have time in the future to practice. So I better practice now. And then if I don't practice now, and if I suddenly die, where would I be born? I wouldn't want to be born into one of the lower realms. But if I don't practice now, that's what is going to happen. So I better do now. And then sometimes we're okay. It's okay, even if I die, but next time when I achieve a good rebirth, I can practice Dharma. But he says it will be difficult to find an excellent life such as this once again. The reason is that when you have the opportunity, you didn't do, you didn't accumulate, you didn't cultivate the causes and conditions that can result in an life of excellence, a precious human rebirth. If we had not created the causes, then how can you expect the result? So these are the three main points which we should contemplate and get kind of a conviction. That will help us. So whenever the laziness or procrastination arises, think about that. I think I mentioned when just to give you an example how powerful and effective thinking of that is. So I have incense, different incense. One particular incense is very expensive and is very good. So sometimes the thought arises, oh, I should keep this for special days. So when I open, when this thought comes, oh, I should keep this for special days, and suddenly the other thought, oh, I may not live, I may not be alive to see that special day. I better offer it now. Otherwise it will be wasted. It will be a waste. If I die before that, I would lose the merit from offering that special incense. So when I think that way, it somehow reduces that attachment, that assumption, that keeping for the special days. So it is powerful. So these are the few points we can use. And then stopping attachment to ordinary activities. So for us, main culprit is this. Procrastination is one thing, but the primary form of laziness that we have is this one. Attachment to ordinary activities. We are so obsessed. First of all, pursuing money, chasing after money, because our greed supersedes our needs. We have enough. Some people have more than enough, but they can't help. When they see that there is a new scheme that pays you extra $10 every hours. They want to do it. Overtime, double shift. All this for money. I can understand if you are, what you call, you are in desperate situation where you really need that money. When you have enough, why we do that? First of all, it's not good for your health. Secondly, even if you don't think from the Dharma point, if you don't think that, I'm taking away my time from Dharma practice, even if you don't think that, at least that is also taking your time off your family. I mean, spending time with your family. You're taking off the time of spending with your family. You want to see your child grow, isn't it? With you. And certainly when you retire, completely a new person. You don't know your son. You don't know your daughter. Because you were so busy doing 2 shifts. And you hardly see your children. What kind of life is that? Some people, I understand, they are in that kind of destitute, that kind of desperate situation. They have no choice. But some is lack of contentment. They see, this is a good money-making machine. So let's churn money. So that's the thing. So when this thought arises, when you are attached to all these worldly activities, see that the sublime teaching is the source of endless joy in this and future lives. See that Dharma is the only source, Dharma practice is the only source of happiness in this life and also in the future life. What good things happening in this life are the results of virtue that we have cultivated or accumulated in our past life. No virtues arise from, let's rephrase, no virtues arise without the seed of virtue. No good experience, no pleasant experience, no happiness arises without the seed of virtue. So whatever good things happening to us are definitely the results of the virtue that we have cultivated in the past. And in the future, if we want to continue having a good life, having enjoy happiness in our life, we need to continuously accumulate virtue. We need to engage in virtue and discard actions of non-virtue. It is as simple as that. So when we bring that into our reflection, then we will be able to kind of reduce that obsession. And engaging in such is the distraction from spiritual practices. We know that. I gave you the example. If a person who is so attached to a football match, and then it so happens that there is another special teaching at the same time, what would that person will choose? Most probably, the person would choose to stay home and watch the football match or go to the stadium rather than attending the teaching. For many of us, teaching and all this comes as the, is somewhere bottom there. Other things are up here. I must do this, must do this. And then if nothing else, okay, I'll do this. So these, you can see that these are really distraction from spiritual practices. Just to give you an example, in earlier, you see somewhere here, mobile phone. From my own experience, I can see that how much this mobile phone wastes our time, especially when you are on social media, Facebook. And then, I don't know about people here, but the Tibetan people like to create these various groups, group chats. And some people have so much time that they will just bombard everything, whatever they see on social media, they will just share and share and share. And their thinking is that I am the only one who sees that. Others have not seen it. So my monastery in Tibet, so we have this group chat. So one of the rules is not to share any of these other things, unrelated things. But at the initial stage, people keep sharing, and then this one who kind of oversees this. So one day he talked to those people, and he said that you think that you are the only one who saw that. That is not true. We all saw that. So you don't need to share all this in the group chat. So anyway, coming back to the point is that, like for example, like mobile phone with social media, it's really a distraction. It really wastes lots of our time. And then source of future suffering. And all this is like here, the picture here, this is supposed to depict the attachment to the sensorial pleasures, the worldly things. So like this, of course, these are very skilled on climbing on rocks. Sometimes what I'm trying to portray here is that, so if on a very steep cliff, if there is a small bunch of grass, juicy grass, sometimes the cows, they will try to get that. And what happens? You may be successful in getting that. Sometimes you fall. It is all because you are so attached to that, just a small bunch of grass. So that's what happens. So all these worldly engaged, the objects are source of future suffering. So thinking this way, it can help us reduce the attachment to ordinary activities, thereby providing us more time to practice Dharma. And then stopping the laziness of self-denigration. When we we never even try, we just decided that I'm not capable of that. But he says that, Buddha said that even flies will attain enlightenment. So think about that. If a fly or animal can achieve enlightenment, then why not? We have the intelligence. We have all the external and internal conditions to practice Dharma. Whereas these animals and flies, they don't have such conditions. But Buddha said that they can. Buddha won't lie. And we all have what is called the Buddha nature. I think I mentioned before, I like the way Geshe Dorje Tamde explained that. He said that it is like a piece of gold that is buried under the soil. So when you dig it out, some may have more coverings of dirt, whereas others have less. But no matter the heaviness of the coverage of dirt, it is still like the same piece of gold. If it's 1 kg of gold, it is 1 kg of gold. When you clean that out, it is 1 kg of gold. The other one, the light soiled one, is also 1 kg of gold. So we all have that. It's a matter of how fast and quickly we remove that dirt so that we can see the actual gold. So when we feel that I cannot do this, these are for other people, we have to tell ourselves that no. Buddha said that, even flies can achieve enlightenment. And we all have Buddha nature. So why shouldn't I? We should say that why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I accomplish this? I can. And then another way is, think about the Buddhas. All the Buddhas that we revered, they were not Buddha from the beginningless time. One time they were like us, ordinary people. But because they really persevered, they developed this perseverance, joyous perseverance. They put effort in Dharma practices. And that's why they have now become Buddha. So there is this gradual process. As long as we put effort, as long as we are able to apply the perseverance, we too will become enlightened. We too will be able to eradicate all the defilements, all the afflictive emotions. That's another way to tell ourselves. And then we may think that, all this I have the Buddha nature, and yes, I can achieve, but there is no means to really achieve Buddhahood, because in order to achieve Buddhahood, we need to amass a huge amount of merit. So he says, with bodhicitta, one can amass enormous amount of merit instantly. So not only we are capable of it, we have the means to do so. If we do any practice with bodhicitta, our merits will double and triple. We amass enormous amount of merit instantly. And then we are so fortunate that we have met Vajrayana. That's the speedy vehicle. If we really practice properly, it is possible to achieve enlightenment within a lifetime. So we have the means. So whenever we feel that I cannot do it, so we have to think through this. For this one, I forgot to mention. Remember, like Milarepa. Milarepa wore that tattered the cloth. It's all wear and tear, cut from here. He didn't sew it back. To him, it's a waste of time. And then there was another Kadamba master who meditated in the cave, and the entrance to the meditation cave was all covered with weeds. And he didn't cut it down because to him it is more meaningful to spend that time on meditation rather than clearing all that weeds. So that's how they view, these great practitioners view. For them, practicing Dharma is much more important than doing all these worldly things. So remember that. So that's about, so that's about the antidotes to those three types of laziness. Now that we have identified the obstacles and we also identified the antidotes, so now we can tackle the obstacle side. So now what else is there? Other conditions, under other favorable conditions that can boost our perseverance. So it talks about the four powers. Developing the power of aspiration. So the first one is aspiration. We need to develop that aspiration in order to, kickstart Dharma practice. We need to be inspired. We need to see the merit. We need to see the purpose in pursuing these Dharma practices. We need to develop this liking for the wholesome goals. So that we can do by reflecting on the general principles of karma, how karma works, and in particular the Bodhisattva practices. We have taken Bodhisattva vows. What happens if we ignore all these precepts? We discuss all the the disastrous consequences of not following through in the conscientious chapter. So reflecting on all this, we will be able to see the benefit of pursuing the Bodhisattva path, pursuing the goal of enlightenment. So this is what it means by developing the power aspiration. With the aspiration, when we have aspiration, only then we will kind of initiate or we will begin the practice. I always give you this example about iPhone. So we see so much merits or qualities of iPhone. So that's why we go and buy iPhone. Like cars. You will buy a car that you really like, that you see meaningful. You see what is called, which has all that benefits, all that qualities. So likewise in Dharma practice, we need to first cultivate that aspiration, that liking, see the merit in doing so. And then that is not enough. Even we are able to generate aspirations, but if we are unable to continue that inspiration and translate into actual effort, then it did not serve the purpose. So we need to develop what is called the steadfastness. It's kind of resolute, the resolution that, I will complete what I have started. So for this one, we have to be careful. We have to first, pledge to do something which we can do, something which is achievable. That's why, remember, one time we talked about the goal setting, the SMART goal: measurable, specific, what is it? SMART, attainable, realistic, and all that. So if we don't set an achievable goal, what will happen is then we will keep giving up, and then there's this danger of becoming that as our habit, which is not good. So to help us develop that steadfastness, the Lamrim talks about these 3 prides. So of course, here the pride is not a negative pride. So generally, pride from the Dharma point of view is something negative, because with pride we tend to belittle others. We tend to inflate our ego, and we tend to become conceited and arrogant. But here is a different connotation. Even though they use the word pride, but it's a different connotation. It is similar to the normal, the ordinary pride, but it's different. So the first one is called the pride of action. That is that I alone will do it. Whatever you pursue to do it. So sometimes what people do, people start a project and then they will seek others' help. So they will let other people to do. So when you start with a project with that kind of a thought that if I cannot finish, somebody will do for me, that's not good. So here we need to have this pride of action, is that I will do it. Intention to accomplish the action yourself. That I will not let another person to finish for me. I will not ask somebody to do for me. I will not request somebody to do that for me. Of course, Dharma practice, if you want to benefit from the Dharma practice, you yourself have to do it. Others doing will not benefit you, isn't it? So here it says that kind of resolution, that I myself will do it. We need to have that kind of, from the beginning to the end, I will do it. So we need that kind of pride. And then the second is called the pride of ability. So here you said that it's like others cannot do, I can do. But this is not that kind of belittling others, not looking down on others. It's like recognizing our own condition. We are in better position to practice Dharma. Imagine sentient beings, those in the lower realms, they are no way in the position to really practice Dharma. And then even human beings, many of them are so ignorant. They don't even know about Dharma practice. They don't even know about this 10 non-virtue. They don't even know about bodhicitta, let alone enlightenment and all that. So we are in better position. We have all the conditions. We have some intelligence. We have met Dharma. We have received teaching. We know what to do. We know what not to do. So in that sense, is that, okay, I have the capability. So since the other sentient beings, they are not so fortunate to be in that kind of condition, I have the ability, I have the best condition, so I will do it. So that's what is called the pride of the ability. And then pride of the affliction. So this pride of affliction is mainly to, to resolution to really challenge afflictive, the mental afflictions. It's like, I will battle them. I will never let them control me. I will overcome them. So what to be abandoned, I will abandon them. What to be cultivated, I will cultivate that. That is called the pride of the afflictions. It says the heroic attitude that views ignorance and afflictions as enemy. So you view all that afflictions as your enemy, and then always try to tackle them, try to counter them. So that kind of attitude, that's called the pride of the afflictions. So with these three kinds of pride, we can develop the power of steadfast. So these first two help us to begin the practice. And then if we just begin a practice and then if we don't continue, we don't, finish, we don't see through, if we don't see through it, then no point. So for that to happen, we need to have the developing the power of joy. We need to find joy. So first, we need to be happy to engage in that endeavor. And then another way is make that action or whatever you are doing, that endeavor, make you happy. So derive happiness, derive joy from your action. So this is, we all know, isn't it, the importance of finding joy in what you are doing. If you don't find joy, it's so bad. So nowadays, young people, they don't really have time to think. Just this morning, somebody told me that a young person having difficulty with the job and all this, so wanted to do a law course, but because didn't fulfill the criteria, so scholarship, they stopped the scholarship. So now cannot complete the law degree, so now worried about job. So when this person asked the other person, what do you really want to do? It's like, oh, I haven't thought about it. You see, we really need to think through. This is generally. But in Dharma, we need to find joy. In order to find joy, we need to reflect on the benefits and advantages. When we are able to see the advantages, the joy will naturally come. So this is what it means. In order for continuation, to keep that, what is the word now? That that momentum. We need to find joy in what we are doing, and we need to derive joy from that activity. So that's the way for successful accomplishment. And then the power of relinquish. The power of relinquish is to know when to rest. You have to be smart. You have to be wise. So sometimes what happens is when people, the beginners, when they come to Dharma, they have so much energy, so much enthusiasm, and then they really try, and then they get exhausted. So here it is about when you are tired, you need to know to rest and then come back. It's not like you practice for 1 hour and rest for 3 hours. That's not what it's saying. You can practice for 2 hours, 3 hours, then take a short rest, short break, and then you come back. And then if you feel tired, again take a rest. That's important. Otherwise, you will be exhausted, and then somehow, you will blame everything on this, and then it doesn't work, and then you no longer want to do. You will give up easily. So that's not the best way. I'm already running over time. Okay. I think we will stop here. And then we will continue in the next session, how to practice spontaneous, joyous perseverance. Okay, we will stop here. Let's dedicate our prayers, our merits. Tage jinye zabe jawa de tendan dowa kunla kangpen dan kebara chuzun lozan tagwa yi tembe nyingbo ringdo seje sho jambe bawe jedara kemba dan kundu sangbu tenyang tenshendo teda kungi jesu talobch jawa deda damje rabdo ngo tuzun shekbe jawa tamje ki ngowa kanla chodu ngakwa dage gewe zawan digun ja sangbo chuje rabdo ngo war ki. Thank you.